Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Full Court Press. I am your host, Drew Duncan. Do not forget that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Additionally, you can find me on YouTube. Simply look for Drew Duncan. Of course, you can find the Full Court Press and our subsidiaries. That is the Full Court Press football, basketball, and MMA on Instagram and Facebook. And when you share our posts, don't forget to use the hashtag. Don't you dare touch that dial. I think the New York Jets are flying under the radar right now with this news because of the NCAA tournament, but I think it's about to hit big here momentarily. The CEOs in the NFL are in Phoenix, Arizona right now as we speak for their annual meeting, and they're going to meet with the press, and I'm sure people are going to ask CEO Chris Johnson of the New York Jets about him spending reportedly $122 million in salary this offseason, $137 million in guaranteed money when it is all said and done. Where's the money going? CJ Murphy, $85 million is what he got in total, $13.8 million cap space. He's the linebacker that they acquired out of Washington. Of course, LeVeon Bell, as we all know, out of Pittsburgh, $52.5 if I remember correctly. $8.5 million salary cap hit to get wide receiver Jamison Crowder, right? That's $28 million. I think $6.8 million a year is what he's going to be due. They went out and got defensive end Henry Anderson. So they made a lot of big money moves. They made a lot of big star moves. And then, of course, additionally to that, the word is that they're actually looking to trade down in the draft. So that way they can acquire multiple draft picks as opposed to just trying to get one or two draft picks, which to me says if they do that, what they're trying to do is that, okay, we've already got all this big talent over here. We drafted our big stud at quarterback last season. So now we're going to try and find a bunch of role players that we can develop into primetime guys. But with that kind of money spent, obviously the idea is to win now, not tomorrow, not in a month, not in a year, like yesterday. I mean, that's a huge astronomical number in NFL. Matter of fact, since the collective bargaining agreement in 2011, only the Giants came close to spending that kind of money in one offseason, and that was 2016 with $106 million. When you start looking at these big moves, one of the things that I talked about before, and to me, this is going to be the primary bottom line to all this. When I initially brought up Antonio Brown, Le'Veon Bell, Tyrann Mathieu, and Odell Beckham Jr. a couple of weeks ago on this program, one of the things that I talked about was camaraderie in the locker room. And what is going to happen here is these guys are going to have to figure out how to work with each other and work with each other quickly. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Le'Veon Bell and Sam Darnold and Adam Gase. Le'Veon Bell, because of the way, obviously, he muscled his way around with the Pittsburgh Steelers, was so vocal on social media about what his demands were. He was not shy at all and basically was calling the shots, right? And when I look at Le'Veon Bell, I see a very similar situation that happened with Randall Cunningham years ago, right? Left out of Philadelphia, took time off of football, and then he goes back and he plays with the Minnesota Vikings, has a great season. They go 15-1, and that was a team that should have been in the Super Bowl, right? So when I look at Le'Veon Bell, I do see a very similar situation. And lest we forget, Le'Veon Bell, in the last year that he played, I mean, what is it? He missed 3 or 4 games that season, still was third in the NFL in rushing yards, over 1,200. Still was tied for third in the NFL in rushing touchdowns with 9. Still had over 650 yards receiving. Still added 2 touchdowns to that number. So we know the capabilities of Le'Veon Bell, but will Adam Gase, the new head coach, A, know how to use him, and B, will he be able to get along with the guys to where they work as a unit and they want to play together? When you look at the successful teams in the NFL over the last, let's say since 1990, the Buffalo Bills, the Dallas Cowboys, the New England Patriots, they had some really great star quality, especially the Bills and Cowboys. But one of the things that they had was togetherness, working as a unit in that locker room, and head coaches that knew how to use everybody that are to their potential and knew how to get those guys to play as a unit. And when I see Adam Gase, the big question mark for me, and really quick, the last thing I want to go with this, think about this, right? Peyton Manning, when he went from Indianapolis to Denver, one of the primary topics of discussion was how he was inserting himself into the locker room. Think about that. That's Peyton Manning. LeVeon Bell at running back at his position definitely carries the same type of star power. But you can't just show up into a locker room. Again, I'm Le'Veon Bell. You just can't do it. Adam Gase is going to have to figure out very quickly how to manage his guys. He's not going to have a whole lot of time with them. He was very successful as an offensive coordinator at Denver and Chicago. You don't get fired as a head coach because you're winning too many games. I'll tell you that much. And so I was really surprised when Miami let him go and the New York Jets picked him up. How is he going to be able to deal with all these egos that he has got no time to really get to know and make them work together? Then, of course, on top of that, you have Sam Darnold. Just as the Jets were as a team last year, he was as an individual very hit and miss. I think that their out-of-division schedule is going to be fairly winnable. They need concise wins over New England to give themselves confidence. They need concise wins over Buffalo and Miami within the division. I don't know that we're going to be able to see a huge turnaround for this team and watch them all of a sudden explode and go 11-5. That is a lot to ask. But when you spend that kind of money and you're given that kind of money, there are going to be plenty of demands placed on you. Individually, we may see all these guys have phenomenal seasons, but will it lead to the team playing as a unit and winning football games that could lead them deep into the playoffs? That's going to be the big question for this team going into the season. Again, $122 million spent, $137 million in guaranteed money. So CEO Chris Johnson, not being frugal at all, saying, you know what, we want to win and we want to win now. I am Drew Duncan, host of the Full Court Press. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is all at Drew Duncan 83. Don't forget you can find me on YouTube. Simply search out Drew Duncan. Don't forget to find the Full Court Press and our subsidiaries, the Full Court Press, football, basketball, and MMA. And when you share our posts, use the hashtag Don't You Dare Touch That Dial. And as always, don't you dare touch that dial.